All right, Friday night. Welcome back to the Paranormal Network Friday Night Live Chat. Jason Hewlett, Paranormal Network Manager and sometimes Paranormal Investigator, joined by someone who is very much a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, Kitsy Duncan. People might know her from Oddity Files, her TV series. She's written a book, I'd Rather Talk to Dead People. She started her own perfume, cologne,
It's a self-care brand called That Witch
self-care
Beauty.
brand as well, which I think is amazing. Plus a new show, Paranormal Crossroads. Kitsy, welcome. It's great to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about this.
Well, we talked when your book first came out, which I think was like almost like 2 years ago now. So it's been a hot minute since we've had a chance.
Yeah, but then there was, a pandemic there, so it really seems like it was just yesterday.
It does, doesn't it? Because the days have all blurred into one giant blur here.
Yes.
Um, but today we're talking kind of our mutual passion and interest, which is ghost hunting or paranormal investigation. So why don't you tell people a little bit, but what got you into this profession? How did you kind of find an interest in the paranormal, and how did it
So
take
I
off?
don't have that average story where, I was 10 years old and I saw something in my bedroom or outside my bedroom window. Did I grow up in a haunted house? Yes, I absolutely did, but I blocked it all out. We had one spirit that would hide things all the time, and it was a running joke in the family. Things would go missing. Mom would say, the ghost must have it. Give it a couple days. It'll be back exactly where you left it. Come to find out recently that my sister had some really crazy experiences that she didn't tell anybody about until like 2 years ago. She had been grabbed and things like that. I had a couple experiences, but that's when I was like, "Oh, no, I don't want anything to do with this." After a little Ouija board session, I had a spirit tell me to get out of my bedroom, and I was like, "Nope, done." And then, years and years and years, I'm not gonna say how many years later, I lost my stepdad, who was the man who raised me, who was my everything. And I moved away from where I was, where the rest of the family was, but I guess I've been weird for longer than I want to admit, but I took the chair that he passed away in and I wanted
Okay.
it and I wanted it with me and I moved it with me and it was sitting in the garage. I didn't put it out in the house because my husband's like, no, I don't want to sit on that. Um, but I felt his presence. I'm like, what? I don't know. It doesn't feel scary. It but I think it might be him. So that's when I started watching paranormal television and got sucked in. I realized that people weren't getting killed or maimed like I thought they would be. If they're going after like Poltergeist taught me as a child. And I was hooked. And I'm like, I want to do this. This sounds amazing. So here I am several more years later, and it's still my passion.
Well, and that's interesting because like, he kinda mentioned I think Poltergeist was almost, like, growing up, that seminal movie about that and Ghostbusters, what ghost
Yes.
hunting or paranormal investigation was like, right? You got the humorous side of
Mhm.
it, and then there was kind of the really spooky side of it, because it wasn't really
Terrifying.
portrayed much terrifying, along with The Entity. I think that was another one where they actually showed people investigating this stuff,
Oh,
but,
I
like,
stopped after Poltergeist. Ghostbusters, because it was funny, I did watch, but I never watched another scary movie again
wow.
until I was older. Yeah. It messed me up.
Well, they
But
do, right? It gives a different idea of what it's like what
yes.
this is really, really like. So, I guess like, what when you first started doing it seriously, like, what was your first real ghost hunting experience? Like, how could what could can you share with us what that was like?
Yeah, so I was invited, with a group from Lafayette, Indiana, to go investigate with them because I was super curious at that point and I didn't know what to do next. So I had met them and they invited me to go along to Black Moon Manor in
Okay.
Indiana. The Ghost Adventures had been there at one point and, is allegedly filled with demons like it always is. And I walked into this home and it felt good. And then I went home and I looked at the footage that I recorded and the audio I recorded and there were EVPs. So I'm like, "Oh, this is real. This is like a real thing." So And then the rest, as they say, is history. I just needed more. I needed more. I wanted to know the spirits' stories, because you see the stories on the Travel Channel shows, you hear the stories from other paranormal investigators, but when I go in, I get different stories, and different spirits. But I go in and I'm not yelling at the spirits. I walk in and first thing I say is, "Hi, I'm Kitsy. I'm not here to hurt you, harm you, take you away. I'm just here to tell your story. I'm here out of love, light, peace, and positivity, and I only want to talk to spirits of the same." And I get some great, great results by doing that.
Well, and that's because we do the same, like here at Canadian Paranormal. Like we go in, we just like, same kind of thing. Hi, we're just here to communicate with you. We just want to find out what happened, you know what I mean, or what's going
Yeah.
on now. Like, and it is sort of more of trying to find a story. Whereas I think I talk about that a lot in these streams. Television is very different. It's provoking. It's there's always something dark that must be gotten rid of.
Always scary. Yeah.
Always scary, which is usually it's not. Like,
No, usually it's
right?
boring.
Thank you. Someone
Until
else.
it starts to go down. Yeah. It's like they'll check the spirits will check you out for a little bit, and you're like, "Oh my god, should we go?" And then all of a sudden they're like, "Okay, we like you, so we're gonna talk to you."
And there is that kind of that lead in here. The Brexton Lee Collins is mentioning he lived in a place in Willis Point, Texas, where doors kept slamming. Have you had that kind of thing ever happen, Kitsy? Where like you've actually had doors move and slam?
Nope, sadly, no. I'm still waiting. Am I though? I don't know. I might pee my pants if something like that happened.
I know, right? It's never as exciting when it happens. It's usually quite terrifying when something big.
Yeah.
I had a toy hammer go off a shelf, like just a little toy hammer, maybe go like, a few feet. And I thought that was super exciting. That was the most exciting thing I think I could have hoped for seeing
Oh,
was a,
nice. I
but
did the other night here at my house, home alone, just me and the dogs, heard this pounding. th- I'm getting ready to sell my house, and I don't think all the spirits I've brought back from with me from locations,
Mhm.
they're happy here, and I don't think they want us to go. So, and I'm running, trying to figure out. It sounded like something huge fell in my house, but I couldn't find any evidence of it. I mean, the dogs even freaked out. So, and today I was watching Big Bang Theory
Okay.
on HBO Max, and it went from one episode to the next, and it changed to Spanish. It was like
Really?
dubbed
Oh,
over. And I had to go in with my remote and change it back to English.
weird.
So I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what you're going to see happening behind me tonight.
Well, hopefully something. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's happened before.
'Cause we are talking ghost hunting on this Friday night chat. So backing it up a bit, Kitsy, like, so do you find too, like it kind of, you go in, it takes a bit for sort of the situation to warm up a bit, and then activity just kind of, you can almost feel when activity is going to kind of happen. Have you ever had that where it's like, just, you know,
Oh, yeah. It's like
yeah,
all of a sudden everybody's covered in chills, and you feel the shift in the room. Does that make
yes.
sense to you? And then just all of a sudden and if you have any equipment laying out, all of a sudden it beeps or the flashlight flashes or whatever, and then it's just like you can't get them to quiet down. But
And it
that's
goes
what I'm
on.
looking for.
That's right. And then that period, the activity lasts for a period of time. Sometimes it's minutes, sometimes it can be hours, right? And then you can almost feel that shift again. It's like they're done,
Yes.
right?
Well, my problem is is I would get so into getting the evidence, getting these stories, I wouldn't notice the shift in the room, and I'd be like, "Well, did they leave? Everything's quiet. You guys, did you notice anything?" And they're like, "Yeah, you didn't feel that." I'm like, "No, I didn't. Tell a witch, you know?"
Hello, Laura. Thanks for joining us. Um, this what Renee Cruz says she's seen a ghost at a cemetery, and it happened at her mom's funeral,
Oh, wow.
which that's a pretty profound kind of experience. I always see family ghosts, apparitions, phantom specters, poltergeists after their funerals.
Oh, wow. I think she might have a gift or two.
I think so as well, because not everybody has that happen. I mean,
No.
you know what I mean? Few people actually do, but that would be almost like a validation of
Oh, yeah.
life after death, which is what we're kind of all looking for when we're doing this,
I
right?
mean, literally. Yeah. Yeah. Um, but so yes, to answer your question, absolutely there is a shift in the room when that activity is going to happen. Now, the way I'm doing it now is more we're going into people's homes that are scared of the activity with Paranormal Crossroad. And so the activity has been going on for a while. And we walk in and we get the equipment out and it's immediate. But what we're finding is it's not the little old lady who died there 25 years ago. These are people's loved ones who have passed, who are trying to reach out to their family members. And they just keep amping up the activity. And then all of a sudden we walk in, they're like, oh my God, thank God you guys are here. Can you just tell him this? I mean, we'll go into places and we'll turn on the spirit box and you'll hear a spirit go, "Oh, she's here." So it's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Apparently, I've got a little reputation on the other side.
That's at least they're excited for you. I usually get sworn at, so I think you're doing quite well if they're actually excited to have you there, right?
I had that happen when we did a little spirit session at Masonic Lodge 666 here in
Oh,
Indianapolis. Literally 666. It was amazing. And it had been so long since I'd been in like a notoriously haunted location because I'd been doing so much in people's homes. But you know those Masonic lodges, any of those good old boy clubs, a woman walks in and they're not happy. And I got called a slut and I'm so excited about it. It's been a hot minute.
well, they do like to
And
communicate in certain ways, that's for sure.
they do. They do. And, in the past, when I was doing all these notoriously haunted locations, I'd be like, okay, let's talk about your problems. This time I was like, dude, bring it. What else you got? Really baganced it. Oh, well.
It's funny that everyone should know what Baggins it means, I think by now. Penny Edwards wants to know, do you believe in shadow figures,
Oh,
Kitsy?
I've seen plenty. What about you?
I too have seen them. I've in
Yeah.
my actual house. I've seen them. What do you think they are? Like, do you think they're just another form of ghost? Or are they something more? Or
Do you want me to get philosophical on you?
sure, I would love to get philosophical.
So doing this over the years and just having different spirits show up in different ways. It's not like I have this gift where I see all spirits. I don't. I am an empath where I will feel the sex of the ghost, sometimes the age of the ghost. On very rare occasions they will show me tragic memories they've had while they were alive. Weirdest thing ever. It happened like 3 times total. And then, I just had a brain fart. What was the question
What
again?
what shadow people are, that's okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's like a learning curve when you're a spirit. I really do. I think that they learn to have you seen the show Ghosts, the British version Ghosts? I've seen them both. It's a TV show. So there's one in the
Okay.
US and there's one that was on the BBC. Um, and literally it well, I mean, it's not real life. It is a TV show, but they kind of validated what I thought. Like they showed this one spirit learning how to move things. Like he had
Okay.
to really try hard and really practice hard. So I mean, maybe they start off as shadow figures. Maybe the first thing is EVPs,
Mhm.
I don't know. That's kind of the way I've always looked at it. But when some are particularly known for being shadow figures, like Lake County Jail here in Indiana, there's like this 7-foot tall shadow figure of an ex inmate. And I saw him, but maybe that's how he chooses to present himself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that something Penny asked? And I know I've heard this, there's a debate, are they not good spirits?
No,
Shadow
I don't think
figures.
so. I think most spirits are good. I really do. My motto, if you've ever listened to me do anything or read my book, if you're an asshole in life, you're an asshole in death.
Yep.
I don't believe that there are really evil spirits out there.
I agree. I think it translates the same, and maybe like, I mean, this is a whole other topic, like the negative energy spirits or demonic. I think that's a very popularized terminology for just encountering a spirit that maybe wasn't a good person in life. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
yeah, that's kind of what I've lent towards lately. Do
I've been
spirits
saying that for years.
right? And I think it holds true, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on a whole different topic about that kind of stuff, but I agree with you completely. Willie Sears wants to know: do spirits visit in dreams? And have
Yes.
you had any lucid dreaming experiences?
I don't even know what lucid dreaming is. I'm afraid to jump in that rabbit hole. I've not done much research on it. What is it?
I think it's very much like sleep paralysis. Like you're kind of dreaming but still awake. That's how I've always
Oh, okay.
lucid
I've
dreamed.
had sleep paralysis. That's
Oh yeah, it's
terrifying.
terrible.
I
Yeah.
do believe spirits visit you, especially past family members. I know I've had 2 dreams about my stepdad, and you just know after you wake up, everything just feels so real. And that he hugged me in one dream, and when I woke up, I mean, I could still almost feel his arms around me. And doing this for in people's homes, we go into people's homes that are grieving as well after they have lost family members, and they ask the same question a lot. And I'm like, you just know. It's like you can smell in those dreams, you can feel in those dreams. Everything is so vivid, as opposed to the one where you can't remember your locker combination from high school.
That's very true. Greg George has another bit here. Just lucid dreaming is where you're aware you are dreaming in the dream and you can take control of the situation in the dream.
Oh, I
I've
do
had
that all the time.
same.
Yeah, I wake myself up from nightmares all the time. I'm like, "Pff, I'm done."
Yeah, I've had enough. Or I've gone back into dreams to finish them. Like you wake up and it's like, no, I want to get back in there and finish that off. Like I want to know how it played out, which is
I don't really remember my dreams as much anymore. I don't know if it's just because I'm an old lady at this point, or because I have to take sleeping pills that I don't remember them. I think that's more the case, but that would be really cool to finish a dream.
I've only done it a couple times, and I don't know why I was determined to, but it was just kind of one of those situations there.
I mean, there are a couple dreams I'd like to finish. I'm not gonna tell you what happened, but
um, what do you find? Do you approach investigating in a someone's home different, say, than investigating like a historic site or a commercial building that you've been called into? Do you approach them differently, or do you kind of approach them the same?
actually it's differently, because when we do investigate in these people's homes, we have them in on the investigation as well. I mean, they're the ultimate trigger object, are they not? And I want them to hear what these spirits have to say. The spirit box, again, family members have come through for people that were going through a tough time, giving them words of encouragement. It's literally their spirit guides that are talking to them, and trying to get their attention. Sometimes it's just past family members that people are like, you know what, I feel like they're here, similar to the situation I went through. Can we see if they'll come through? And my biggest fear of all of this is going in and I can't get the communication they want. Um, so it is much different, because every time I'm showing them the equipment, and I think it comes in handy too, because a lot of these spirits haven't dealt with paranormal equipment before, like in these notoriously haunted locations. So I'm explaining it to both the living and the dead while it's going on.
Interesting. What do you use for equipment? Like, what do you find is your tried and true that you stick with?
The spirit box, 1,000,000%. I can have full on conversations with the dead. I don't know if it's my energy tied to that box, or if they just know I'm going to listen, or what is. I can't explain it, because I know not everybody has the luck I do with the spirit box. Dowsing rods, we go
Mhm.
legit old school, and they are amazing. And it's something that we can teach these homeowners, these grieving people, how to use once we're gone as well, is the dowsing rods. Flashlight is always fun too if there's children
Yep.
spirits around. That's hit or miss though. I mean, I know that the coil heats up and it turns on, but when it's answering every question on point, is it a coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences. So I do love a good old-fashioned SLS camera that's not old-fashioned at all, because when you see a stick figure pop up, you're like, dude, this is so amazing.
I find like the one SLS I'm always a little bit leery of myself, just a little bit, because it was
Yeah.
created for different technology and it has been known to, you know what I mean, take just particles and try to
Oh,
make
and you
sense out of it.
tell usually, like,
Yeah,
if you get a chair, it's gonna think some dude sitting on a chair.
yeah,
But when I'm at some guy's house talking to his dead grandfather, and then just all of a sudden, out of the blue, you see a stick figure lying back on the couch, stretched out like this, and the homeowner's like, "You know what? I feel people sit down next to me on this couch all the time." Again, there's no such thing as coincidence. You've gotta
exactly.
kind of weigh things out. You get a coat rack, it's gonna think it's a person.
Yeah.
But you've gotta take the situation for what it is. And
I find that with Spirit Box too, right? Like, you know, if you
yes.
yeah, right? Like if you're getting intelligent responses to questions that you're asking that make sense and the voice is consistent with the, you know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, we got something here. Like definitely.
Yeah, and what started this whole paranormal crossroad journey was that I was investigating a friend of mine's home, and her father came through, and it was her father's voice.
Oh
I
man,
mean,
that's awesome.
she's shown the footage to family members. They're like, "Oh my god, that's Phil." So it's and that's when I was like, "Oh, it's freaking real."
There's no way around it.
Yep.
George wants to know, is the end goal for you to gather data and evidence or to try to communicate and help spirits move on? Or
I
both?
don't help spirits move on. I've always said that's not my bag. I do believe that if spirits want to move on, they will. I believe that some of these spirits have moved on and have come back. I think that is more often than not, and in my new line of investigation, especially with people's family members. I know that some of them don't wanna move on. I found that out, at Fairy Plantation in, Richmond, Virginia, when a spirit that followed me home from Bobby Mackey's, um, I didn't even know she had followed me home until she started coming over on the spirit box there, and we tried to get her to cross over, and the guy who, was letting us investigate I can't remember what they're called. It's been so long since I've investigated a place like that. A docent maybe for a museum. And he was an empath and he's like, she is crying uncontrollably. What is going on in there? And the spirits at the plantation were not happy she was there, but she did not want to move on. We tried. We tried to talk her into finding the light, this, that, and the other. And I'm not going to force anybody to. She's happy here. She's happy with me now. And she literally helps me get these spirits to communicate. I'm like, Abby, just show them how to use it. And just all of a sudden these voices are coming through. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Brexton would love to get a spirit box. How expensive are they? I think we have to pay an exchange rate up here, but they're a couple $100. Easy.
I thought they were like $100 on Amazon.
They probably are, yeah, because you have to pay over to get it come up from the States. I think it was like
Yeah.
100, but yeah, it sounds about right. So you're looking between 100 probably and 200 depending what you get and
Yeah,
where you
and
are.
don't get the upgraded version where you've got 3 or 4 different bands going at once. Just get the original that looks like a transistor radio from 1972.
Those work
That's
really
the
well
one.
too.
Yep, yep. There is one app. There's 2 apps that I do use for spirit communication. I don't use the ghost radar
No,
or the God, what is it called? The Ovilus version
oh,
or things like I've never
no, no.
trusted the Ovilus anyway.
It's
Um,
pre-programmed. It's pre-programmed. Like there's stuff in it that's
literally.
programmed to say things. So you can't trust what it's saying, like
No,
at all.
not at
No,
all.
not at all.
And see, that's been my thing with the apps too, because they're all pre-recorded
Yeah.
sounds. And for the longest time, I was just like, you know what? I don't know. I'm gonna go back to the spirit box. I went back and forth and back and forth. And Portal Plus is an app that is available only on Android phones. It was created by Steve Huff and somebody else. I don't know who the other guy was. Sometimes it's on, and sometimes you just hear the same phrase over and over again because they are all pre-recorded phrases. But the Sono X10 app, that is, I think, both Android and Apple, I found it to be very reliable, where like if you just have it on, you hear all these random voices, but when the communication starts, they use the one voice and continue to use that one voice. And another one is the I can't remember it, the one on Apple. I'll have to look for it real quick. A Spiritus
Yeah.
app.
Okay.
Spiritus is a good one as well. Now, anything that claims it's an SLS camera, it's not.
No.
Any other apps, no. But randomized sounds, I do feel like the spirits can manipulate it. I don't know why.
Well, it's the same with the spirit box. Like, you're just picking up on radio frequencies. If somehow, because if the spirit is one of the big theories is that it's our energy released into the Earth's electromagnetic field. So it makes sense that they could communicate through an electronic device. And I know people I've talked to that have been scientists say, like, what kind of made me trust them more is because they're so small and the mechanics are so limited. Like, it can only pick up within like a few meters. You know what I mean? So it can't be some trucker 20 blocks down the road with a CB messing with you. It doesn't work like that. It's only within a few meters. So the only person that could influence it is someone else within your group or within the house, really. And that's, if you're the only ones
I
in
didn't
there,
even know
it,
that.
right? Yeah. I found that out recently. So it's
Wow,
very
that's
limited range, which is good. That gives its validity even more.
Yeah, I usually just break the antenna off.
You don't have to worry about it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The Paranormal Side says you're a really interesting person, Kitsy, just so you're aware.
I'm a pain in the ass, sweetie, but thank you.
We got time for one more question here. We got to get from George before we wrap up. Are there steps you can take to keep spirits from following you home from investigations, or do you welcome them following you home?
Oh, no, I've taken all the steps, honey, especially after leaving Bobby Mackey's. They have free will. They've told me they have free will. Some of them don't know they have free will and have to be told that. So yeah, you can't stop it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I've tried the saging and the reciting and all, and Abby's still, but thank God she is, but Abby's still with me.
That's awesome.
And of course, leaving Bobby Mackey's, you're going to do the smudging and the stuff and the things. I mean, I did not see a single demon there, even went into the basement blindfolded because I'm a badass. But if a spirit's meant to be with you, it's meant to be with you. And literally, she's become one of my spirit guides.
That's all, which I think it's interesting how we do get some that do become kind of like guides in a way, right? Or they kind of help you out in communicating with the other side.
Yeah.
Brexton wants to know, can you use an AM station for hearing spirits? I know the spirit box goes AM and FM. It can go both ways. I think I've had more luck maybe on AM.
I have more luck on FM because sometimes
FM,
AM I get like a weird sound. I don't know.
I always find it sounds like a helicopter. Like sometimes like a and it kind of gets...
that is the most comforting sound in the world to me.
Is
it's
it?
Ridiculous. Yes. Not just white noise, but it's got to be that spirit box. Oh, love it.
I know it's good. It's hard to put music around for a We Want to Believe show, but otherwise it works pretty good. Actually, I have one last question. Have you ever had anything happen that scared you when you've investigated? Because it isn't usually very scary. It's usually the opposite. Like we said, kind of boring.
But... in the beginning, when I wasn't sure and I was watching all the shows and I was believing all the shows, yes. But after I realized and I got into my own, the only thing that would scare me. Hi, Brittany. She's got all the spirits with her. I'm just saying. Oh yeah. But the only thing that would scare me is if we were in a haunted location, all the lights were off, and Clayton and Carter and I from Oddity Files, if they would hide and jump out and scare me.
That's not very nice.
And I'd pee my pants a little bit.
Well, and it's true. It's very, very rarely is it frightening. I think the only time that I've been scared is when I've scared myself, or you had something like you say, jump or bang that you didn't anticipate, but usually you've done it to yourself.
Every single time.
Every single time. It's actually can be quite a peaceful experience I find most of the time.
Oh, it's yes,
One way.
1,000,000%. It lets you know that everything's gonna be okay once we're done here, is how I look at it.
I agree. I agree. Wiggy, we did talk shadow people kind of earlier in the show. So if you want to, I'll post the video up and you can take a look at that. But we briefly just figured they're just a different stage of becoming a spirit. Like they're nothing
Yeah.
really bad. They're nothing really evil. It's just different ways once they transition on the other side from like EVP to apparition to to
Yeah.
shadow.
Check out my book, I'd Rather Talk to Dead People. Spirits
Yes.
aren't evil.
No, they aren't. Kitsy, thanks so much for joining me. It's been great to
Oh,
catch up with
thank
you again. It's
you.
been a long time.
Can I give some URLs where people can find me?
Yeah, please let people know where to find you, your show, your book. I think that would be great.
Awesome. So Oddity Files is no longer on Prime. They took off reality shows of any kind or sort.
Yeah, they're all gone.
It's on there. It's just not free anymore. But you can check out YouTube. It's Oddity Files Crew. Paranormal Crossroad, which is, this new journey I'm on where you want to talk to your dead family members. I'm your girl. You head to paranormalcrossroad.com. And you guys here in the US, Mother's Day is coming up. But I have a lot of gender neutral products as well at thatwitchbeauty.etsy.com.
That's awesome.
.com. Oh, and I have a podcast. Shit. Oddity Files, the podcast. Check it out. It's on all the stuff and things.
You do too much to keep track of, even for yourself. I know that problem.
We reeled it in with the podcast. We're only posting every other week right now. So that's been a huge godsend.
Yeah, I did a weekly show for 11 years. It can kind of add up in the end, can't it?
Yeah.
So. But Kitsy, thank you so much. We'll have you back on again.
Awesome. I would love that. This was so much fun. It was like over before it started though. But
it always does. It always does, right? We're having a good time. So it moves quickly. Yes. So that's my guest, Kitsy Duncan. I'll be back in 2 weeks with a new conversation with a new guest. I think we're going to do Paranormal Bigfoot in a couple of weeks with Carter Bursch. So
remind me.
For that.
I love Bigfoot. He's my boyfriend.
He's awesome.
He's not mean either.
No, he's not. I don't know why people get that impression, but oh well. Anyways, until then, folks, have a great weekend and stay spooky.